Right. Hello, guys. Welcome to today's ST. As you can see from the title, we are having an ST on business education, right? So first, let's talk about what it means. What it means by business education. Then we'll jump into the Socratic dialogue. So um, just consider that you are a student who has this passion of becoming a software developer, right? So you join your team, you join the meetings and stuff, you get all the tasks, and then you get done with those tasks, and then you are done, right? But what we believe at DT is that that's not enough, right? Just being an individual contributor, it's not enough. For you to be a successful software developer or whatever you want to be, you need to do more than that, right? You need to be able to lead teams. You need to be able to drive objectives, right? So that under you, like you are not just driving one objective, you're not just working on one project, but multiple projects. And if you work on multiple projects, then a lot more impact will be created, right? And that's why we have all these people with us here today who can like so that they can work on their leadership capabilities, right? So that's what business education is about. Um, with whatever we are learning, can we as well inculcate some of the business strategies, right? Can we also learn how businesses operate, right? Because if we learn how to operate a business, we tend to think about our work in a larger, bigger picture view, right? And it allows us to appreciate our work a lot more because we tend to see its value a lot more, right? So that's what again, these people are doing here. They're going to talk about how this business education can be inculcated, right, in the normal, let's say, curriculum that we have, right? How students can be taught to appreciate business, right? Because personally speaking, for a long time, I have hated business, right? I just thought it was about earning money and stuff. But I'm pretty sure a lot of us, and even I have, realized that it's a lot more than that. So how do we make people realize that? What changes do we need to bring? That's what we are going to talk about today in this ST. So yeah, I hope you are excited. We have two teams with us, Team Steve Jobs and Team Feynman. Interesting names. So they will just, quickly let us know why they've chosen those names, and then we'll jump into, their introduction and the ST. So first of all, Team Feynman, would you like to go ahead? Why did you name yourself as Team Feynman?
Yes, sir. So this is Utkarsh, and I'm a web developer here in TT for last 6 months. So we have chosen our name as Finance because we are talking about education, like business education. So as we know that Feynman is one of the greatest teachers. So if we are talking about something like related to education and we are not talking about it, so it's not enough. So that's why we have chosen the name as Feynman because as everyone know it's one of the best teacher. So that's why we have chosen the name Feynman.
Okay, great. Thank you, Utkarsh. So Feynman is well known for his ability to break down difficult concepts in simple words, right? And I am assuming that that's what Team Feynman is trying to do today, trying to break down difficult business concepts in simpler terms. Great to hear that,
Exactly.
guys. Yeah, great. Okay, what about Team Steve Jobs? What inspired you, or made you name yourself as Team Steve Jobs?
Um, I'm Shakaya. So we have chosen a name, Steve Jobs, because uh, to be a businessman, it's not just being a businessman, how to be a good leader and how to be a good thought person. Because as we all know, Steve Jobs is a very good leader. So that's why we have chosen a name Steve Jobs.
Mhm. Okay, interesting. Thank you, Sikha. Great. So we have had Utkarsh and Sikha introduce themselves. Let's go ahead and have other people introduce themselves as well, right? And then, yeah, we'll get started. So anyone else who would like
So,
to introduce themselves?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, hello everyone. My name is Shivam Singh, and I'm also at a TT on team of 3 months as a web developer. So, I'm today I'm a part of the team Handmade, and I got this opportunity. So, thank you for this opportunity. And okay, that's my turn.
Great. Thank you, Sibam.
Good evening, everyone. This is Anshu Nishant. I'm working in Unique Biotech as a analyst, and yeah, I'm grateful to be part of this. PTT.
Great. Thank you, Ansel.
Hello, myself Ashish Balot, and I am here with DT with 3 months, and I am a web developer, and I am part of the team Femen in this SD. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ashish.
Hello, my name is Madhvi and I'm a software developer in DT and I've been in DT since 3 months. So I am the part of team Steve Jobs. So that's about it.
Thank you, Madhvi. Okay, I guess now the co-mod can go ahead.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. I'm Gaurav. I'm data scientist in Deep Thought, and I'll be co-moderating this session.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Gaurav. And guys, I'm Tushar, and I'm your moderator today for this SD. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the dialogue. And if you are watching this on live on YouTube, please feel free to drop your questions in the live chat box, right? We'll try to pick some of your questions and then have our participants answer them. Right. So yeah, without further delay, let's get started. So just just to quickly mention this to all our audience who are not aware. We mentioned this business education. Okay, I will also, since we have a lot of new participants with us, like I'm guessing that for some of them, it might be the first time they're in Live SD. So I'll just brief them about the guidelines for Socratic dialogue and then we'll get started. Okay, so first of all, the theme for this SD business education, right? We talked about it. So there were some principles that all the participants went through, right? They familiarized themselves with the principles, they learned about them. And there was this QFD, question for discussion, that they wrote a pitch upon, right? The QFD was as follows. How should our approach to teaching change so that students could appreciate business ideas and create their own business strategies? Right? So since the QFD is talking about changing the, you know, way of teaching, we would expect the participants to describe to us the current state of teaching, right? How is it being taught right now, and what are all the changes that they are trying to bring, right? So we'll be looking forward to such ideas. Um, Anyway, that's the theme. And just to quickly brief you about the guidelines, guys, what would happen is that we have two teams, right? So first of all, the first team will go. Let's say that team Feynman decides to go first, so they will pitch. They'll get like 2 minutes at max, right? And then they'll pitch their ideas, whatever they have prepared. And once they're done with the pitch, then if there are some needs of clarification, then I will ask some questions. But if I feel like there's no clarification required, then team Steve Jobs can go and question them, right? So the questioning, since it's a Socratic dialogue, we don't want you to, do a monologue, right? So we don't want you to speak for a long time. Just try to be concise, okay, and be on point. Let's not, waste each other's time. Um, that's one point. And then once the questioning round is done, which will be till like 7:10. Okay. After that, the other team will pitch, like Team Steve Jobs will then pitch for 2 minutes, and then Team Feynman will question for like 15 minutes, right? And then once we're done with that, we'll reflect and we'll be done with the dialogue. Okay. And if you do have a question, you can raise your hand, okay, so that the other person is not interrupted. But if they do keep on speaking for a long time, so I will interrupt. Okay, so please make sure that you do not, speak unnecessarily. Great. Okay, let's get started. Then, do you have any question regarding the structure, regarding the theme, anything? Okay, I guess not. Awesome. Okay, let's get started. So, which team would like to take the initiative and pitch first?
We can go.
Okay, Team Feynman. Let's go ahead with Team Feynman.
Yes.
So, yeah, guys, please go ahead and pitch.
Okay, so we are seeing the approach of teaching. Like, what are the approach that we can change so that will appreciate is trying to learn the business ideas and concepts, right? So our points are like case study analysis. We can introduce them with the case study analysis of different business and uh, some real life case studies of some what we can say some companies, and we can also introduce with the debates and discussion. So we can ask them to do a case study, and after that they can discuss on that. And after that, we have the few pointers like activity. So we can make them to perform some activity, so they can play a character play, like kind of thing. So they can play as a businessman and a customer like this, so they can understand it properly. They can understand how to communicate, right? And next, we are moving to the we can introduce as a teacher, we in a college or school, we can introduce them with some business related books or some articles such as HR articles. So they will get the basic concept of business. And also we can further move next to like we can there is point like before giving some concept, right? We can introduce them with the context of the topic. Let's say if you are explaining any concept, and so before explaining the concept, like before giving the name, we need to explain that phenomena, what's happening in there. So it will be easy for them to understand it, and that makes them excited to learn that thing. So, and the last point is organizing any event and festival. Like if any events or festival is there in college or school, so through that they will able to understand the business perspective, like managing the things. They have some limited budget, so how they can manage all the things in that limited amount and everything. So that's the thing. That's it. So if you have any question, you can go ahead and ask. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Team Feynman, for your pitch. I hope Team Steve Jobs properly thread built and heard what Team Feynman, the ideas that they gave. Team Feynman, first, a few questions that I have, which I feel are needed for better clarification. As I mentioned earlier, the question asked the QFD, it says, how should our approach to teaching change? Okay, so the question is asking you to introduce the changes. But for you to introduce the changes, you have to first understand and explain what the current state of teaching is. But you did not do that. Can you go ahead and explain what the current state is?
Okay, so now now what's happening? Like it's basically about theories, like domain subject in college and the educational system. It's more focused on domain subject. It's not about business or something. If you are taking taking business as a domain, then only you will get the knowledge. But what about the others? They're not getting the business educations, right? They have to uh, actually they're not getting for if they want to learn, they have to go differently to learn that. So this is the things this we can add as an extra activity or something that we can introduce something like this, so they can learn more about business. So at any stage they can start the business if they want. If they want to enter into some business, they can do it.
Okay, understood that point. So one point that you mentioned was that let's say I'm studying physics. Since I'm studying physics, I would not be introduced to business ideas. And so what you will do is that you will bring that cross functionalities.
Yes.
Yeah. What else?
uh, like
You suggested like
I,
6 to 7 points, right? So
yes, yes.
what are the current state for out of the six things you have not mentioned?
Sorry, I didn't get it.
You suggested like 6 to 7 changes, right?
Yes.
But you have only described the current state of one of those changes. So can you describe the current state for other changes as well that you have suggested?
Okay, so if you see now in anything, we are not given a case study to learn from the real life example, right? So uh, if you want to introduce to the case study, the real time problem, what already that had been faced or someone has faced that problem, so we can overcome that problem. We can understand that, and uh, in the same situation, we can apply the same methodology and overcome that problem. And debate and discussion. So basically, we are in colleges or schools, we are not getting chance to get debate or discuss on some topics, right? Uh, Directly, we are learning the topics and that's it. We are not getting chance to discuss on it further in open, you can say, but like community chat or something. And activity or storytelling. It's again, it's not happening like. Now we have been introduced this in St. Mary, but before it was not happening. And teacher also don't care about it because they just want to finish the syllabus. And again, the introduction, introducing new some books and articles. So it's like most of teacher and faculty they are not aware of it, which is the right one to introduce. And uh, they itself are not related to business, so they don't know, and they want, but they don't know exact. So they're not introducing it to students, so students are not aware of it. and we'll see the next one is concept and context. So as we have studied, like whatever the teacher is saying, first they are coming that today we'll study that we can say photosynthesis. Like they first they're giving the topic, then they are explaining the thing. But if we can reverse it, what will happen is we'll reverse it. Like first we'll explain this is the photosynthesis, this is the like process, and after that we'll give the name. So this is what we call as photosynthesis. So it will excite them, like through storytelling we can tell them, that will excite the student, right? Yeah, that's
Yep.
something is new, yeah, so we can learn. So they will excited to get the things, so what that exactly means. So that's the thing. And at the end, it's organizing festival events. So I guess it's one of the things happening, but not at big scale because most of them are not getting chance. So we can introduce this. We can introduce like frequent events or something, small vacation, and we can give different group of people to take over that event and handle it. So they will get some ideas how much like how much they have collected for that event and how much they can invest, and in that budget to organize all the things.
Okay,
So that's the thing.
great. I think that clarifies a lot of things. Thank you, Utkarsh. Team Steve, just please go ahead with your questions.
Yeah, my question will be with the first topic that you have told. Uh, like you have told about the case study. So how will you make your the students you are delivering this topic to bring the conviction that this will work? And also in front of them, how do you, will you evaluate and present that this will be working in real life scenarios?
Introduce your
Okay. Okay, so as I'm something teaching to the student as a business value, so they learn as a theory. So after the what do you mean by case study? So as like they have to know about the restaurant business. So they can go to the restaurant and there they can apply their knowledge, that theory knowledge that they have learned. So in the restaurant they can talk to all the stakeholders, and they can take interview, and the knowledge they have gained through the theory, so they can apply it there. So that would be one case study example. So by that student can get a practical case study and get to know
I'm sorry,
about the
Shivam, was
business.
that the question? He's
Yes.
not applying, he's not asking you about the examples of case studies that can be taught to the students, right? He's asking about how do you, let's say, convince students to learn those case studies, and when they're being taught, how do you measure, that's what your question was, right? Anshul, can you clarify?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Right. So how do you convince them to learn from case studies for the since they have not been okay, the way that Utkarsh defined case studies, he said that it's about teaching them real life phenomena, right? Real life instances. So if they have not been taught about it in the past, then how would you convince them to learn these new ideas?
Okay, so it's like uh, they are learning something new, right? So if we can't convince like those who are interested, we'll define the case study. Like there are many different case studies, so we can take some of the famous banks, like some of the famous companies, right? So that will excite them to learn it.
Okay, I think that
Uh,
answers the question. Anshul, any follow-up? He will pick some popular companies' case studies, and then he'll get those people who are already interested to learn about those. And those who are not already interested, they will be expected to be interested by the company's names and stuff.
Yeah. So these were the theories that they are going to apply. These are real life scenarios and models they have been updated with time and time with experience. So the thing was in the company also, like we need to what do you say? But the evaluation part that that how you will bring that conviction, because it is like a paradigm shift, because people from like who are learning, they're directly going into the business stage. So like you're already following something and you have been seeing in the society, but here something different is there. So uh, uh, that part, how it can be
Okay,
inculcated.
got your question, Anshul. Tim Feynman.
so it's like if they're not interested, but if we'll introduce with something interesting, like in this year, how much sales has let's say Amazon. So how much sale has Amazon done? Do we know? And what are the most uh, the product that has been sold most, or what how much profit they have gained in this year. So this kind of exciting topic that at the age of that age of student, what was the age of student that excite them very much, like about profit, and that is related to that. We can take the example of Instagram, Facebook, how much they have they have gained profit or something in 1 year, how many we can see increase in number for what we can user. So these are the numbers that we can give the example, so that will excite them. They
Uh,
can relate it.
because again, the question was not about how to get them excited, right? That part is already discussed. This question was how do you measure that excitement? How do you evaluate the conviction? Right? So what he said was that for a long time, students have not been taught that way, and right now that paradigm shift, as you mentioned, is happening. Right, a shift is happening to the way that they are being taught. So at that time, you'd have to evaluate the changes that they're going through. Right, you have to evaluate whether or not they're getting excited and stuff, whether or not they're interested, whether or not they're learning. So how do you do that?
As same, we can like for everything it will be the first time, right? So they have not introduced, it's fine, but for being like for bring that change we need to start, right?
What can you please elaborate?
uh, like they've already not been in this situation, we are changing something, right? So for this change they need to adapt it. So first we'll go with some interesting, so those who are not interested, that's fine, but by seeing them, those who are already interested, those who are showing interest in that, by seeing them they can also get excited, right?
No, sure, but that's not the question. They might get interested by looking at the people who are already interested, right? That works.
Mm.
Our assumption right now is that those people are already interested. They are taking the course and stuff. But how do you measure the level of their conviction? How do you measure that they are very excited? How do you measure that they're actually learning? Because what is being
So
taught is different. Yeah, go ahead,
Okay,
please.
Ashish, you want to
I want to answer that question that we can measure that how many business ideas students are bringing or what type of discussion they are involving, like business discussions, like participating, what type of business idea they are like so many things we can evaluate based on that.
Great. So, Team Steve Jobs, any follow up?
I have another question. So,
Is that a follow up?
no.
Another thread. Let's wait for another thread. Let's get done with this thread first, okay? Uh, Anyone else? Any follow up for what just Ashish mentioned?
Ashish, can you reiterate? Actually, my network was fluctuating.
Okay, I am saying that we can evaluate the students' interest based on the business idea they are bringing, like in class, they what type of question they are asking based on their interest, what type of interest they might. Yeah.
Right. So, Anshul, basically, those people have been doing those courses, right? So, how do you evaluate the conviction level? Are they actually putting effort into learning those concepts? And you measure that by looking at are they, exploring those concepts further? Are they presenting ideas, right? Are they participating in activities and discussions? So that's Ashish's idea. Can any follow up? I guess there are no follow ups then.
Yeah, one follow, those ideas, how will we merge with that current case studies and models that you have been teaching?
What do you mean, Anshul? Can you please clarify once? What do you mean by yeah? Can you please reiterate?
Yeah, he has some ideas and they have been working on teaching the case studies and various models by big companies. So how can he land his ideas, merging with some of the ideas that have been working very uh, accurately in the market and giving revenues to the business?
Okay, how is that a follow up?
Because he has some ideas of difference in opinion in his likings. So whether his likings are just for his likings or it is actual real life workable ideas also.
Okay, so okay, what Asi said was he has ideas for evaluating the effort that people have been putting, right? And now you're wondering if those ideas actually work. Is that your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay, sure. Team Feynman would like to go ahead then.
Okay, can you comprehend that means what exactly want to
Okay, I will clarify. And Ansu, please let me know if I'm wrong. Okay. So Asis had presented some ideas for evaluating the conviction of those people, right? Now Ansul is wondering if those ideas are practical, right? How do you actually, test those ideas out? That was your question, right,
Okay,
Ansul?
Yeah.
Okay.
okay, so we can have a one-to-one discussion or a group discussion, and we can see if they are, we can give them a what is it, situation or case study to discuss. So we can see who are taking parts in that and how they are interested. So we can see if they are really understanding. And by that discussion, we can see that is that they are bringing their business perspective from what they have learned. So we can evaluate that yes, they have been involved in that kind of things.
Can you please be more specific when you say we'll see if they're really understanding, right? If they're bringing in a business perspective, it's really ambiguous. So can you present to us some sort of system by which you'll be doing that?
So, as I said, we can give them some case study, right? So, and let them openly discuss on it. So, when they will discuss, obviously, if it's a business perspective and they have learned something, right? So, they will discuss it in some technical term, right? As revenue, profit, loss, and everything. So, we can see that is that really working out or not
What do you mean by we can see?
by observing. Like if they are debating, we can observe them, we can uh, monitor them, what they are talking, what they're discussing, and we can after that we can take a reflection on it that what they've discussed and what they get from it. So we can evaluate that yes, they have learned something or they're involved in such kind of thing or not.
Okay, sure. Any follow-up, Team Steve Jobs? Okay, no follow-up. Then I have a follow-up. Utkarsh, you mentioned that we'll just observe them and try to figure out. Um, my question is that a good enough system for you to realize whether or not your objective was met, right? Your objective in this case, I'm assuming, was that after they go through case studies, they will learn about real life applications, they will gain certain heuristics and stuff, right? And what you said was if they do discuss, I'll make some observations and then I'll assume that they have learned those things. So how can you make the conclusion out of them discussing that you have achieved your result? How do you
So
validate that?
it's like taking reflection, and we can also conduct some exam on case study. We can give them some case study or some situation where they need to answer what they will do if there is some situation or something that how they can overcome that, which have already been discussed in some of the case studies. So we can give some related questions that how they are
No,
overcoming that. And if,
that makes sense. You will do another stuff,
Mhm.
right? You'll conduct exams and stuff. But let's not go to
Mhm.
another idea. Let's talk about that observation part itself. So you mentioned that you will observe certain things and then you'll make conclusions about whether or not they have.
We can we can give the similar case study and we want them to discuss with each other. So when they're discussing, and after we can take a reflection and how they have overcome that situation. We have given some situation to discuss, right? A kind of case study. So how they are overcoming that situation. So after that, when they're giving reflection, we can understand that they are following that methodology, what had
Okay,
been taught or not.
then why observe at all? Why not just wait for the reflection? Like those people could be discussing in another room and I am sitting in another room. I ask them in my room after they're done discussing for their reflections.
That can be done. We can
Then why
directly
was
take
there?
reflection.
So is there no need of observing at all?
Uh, from observing, we can see the how much they are contributing. Like there are multiple people, so we can't observe everyone, or we can't take reflection from everyone. So we can just go through and observe that how many are taking actively participating. So that will help us little bit understand.
Okay, you said you can't take reflections from everyone, right? Is that the
Uh,
case? Then how do you know if everyone has learned?
That's why observation is also required.
If taking reflections, okay, why do you think that would complement
Like
observation is going to be possible when reflection is not possible?
we can just go through the rooms, and if they are in different rooms, so we can just go through and see who is getting a feedback. It's like a test. So like we are conducting test, we can just check the result and give the marks, but still, some observer is there to observe that they're not doing some cheating or something. They're discussing,
Okay,
right?
got it. Sure. Thank you, Utkarsh. Sika, please go ahead with your question.
You talked about giving them books to read, right? So I think students already have enough books to read, and how you'll let them have a reading habit so they want to read more books which are not in their course.
Yeah, so we are not telling them to read more books, but we are suggesting them the businesses book that are so important that they can read and get a better understanding. So by through that they can gain knowledge. So and if we have some books that are from different domain, and that can be better for them to better understanding something, and that can helpful them to understanding in the business by applying that subject logic to the business value. So we are suggesting them to read that book and all that thing.
Okay, Sika, just to summarize what we said, he will not give it to them, he will just suggest the books. Any follow-up?
Yeah, why will the students reading the books when they are not in the actual business apart from the curriculum? This will become a like extra burden to them.
No, so these are the books should be as like some students are like to reading books. So if they are reading some story books and all that thing, so what if they read some books that from that book they can gain something. So if we are suggesting them and they are liking it and they are reading it, so it would be helpful for them.
Any follow-up, Steve Jobs?
Most of the students don't like to read extra books, right? And the students who like to read extra books, they can ask their moderators to for the book name and stuff. So my question was, how will you inculcate the reading habit, and how will you tell them that reading books are very important part of
Okay, so how you can say that they don't have habit of reading because they already have a lot of book to read, right?
I'm not talking about the course book because we all know if it's about reading novels and other books, no students these days like to read novels and extra books because they already have a burden, what they call burden, their course books. So how will you tell them to read extra books which are not in their course already?
No, it's not like that. Most of them are reading the books. That's why bookseller are selling it, and most of the books are being like bestseller because someone is reading, right? And at this age, if you introduce them with some interesting book, like a business book, obviously, by listing the name business, everyone at this age are getting excited. And obviously, if you introduce with some interesting book, they will obviously read it. So that's how.
Again, my question wasn't whether they like to read or not. My question was, how will you?
Sorry, I didn't get it. How will means?
Utkarsh, her question is, okay, first of all, you are making an assumption that everyone likes it. Okay. And when you are making such an assumption, you'll have to provide some evidence to validate that assumption, right? So we are assuming here that you have not validated the assumption of yours, right? But Sika is saying that it's fine, right? Let's say that people are interested or not
No, just
interested.
no, just will suggest them they can go through that book if they want some deeper understanding or some knowledge of it. We are not forcing them to read that book. Just will suggest them. So those who are interested, they will go through it, obviously.
Right, but let's say that those people are not going, right? That's what Sika said. They do not have a habit to read those books, right? Then how do you make them do it?
Uh, if they are not, so we are, the first thing we can't force, and second, if someone is interested, right? So we can suggest some exciting, some book and tell them a brief of book that what you will learn from that book, some exciting things, like what you can say. So if we'll take example of some book like Subconscious Mind, Power of Subconscious Mind. So we can summarize that book. If we'll go through that book, we will learn how our brain works and all.
Sure,
So it takes
got your
some.
point, Utkarsh. But the thing is, again, those people are not interested, right? That's the question, right? The thing is, let's say that I'm again studying physics, right? I do not, I'm not, I'm just interested in studying my physics ka book. Interested in studying sci-fi, science fiction, physics ka books. I'm not interested in reading business books. Now, how do you do that as a teacher? How do you teach me?
So here comes like our the next activity that storytelling and character play. We can do something that as I said, we can tell some story and some character play so they can see and we can relate it to book that you will get to learn this from the book.
Okay, storytelling and character development. Sika, any follow?
Character play.
A character play. Okay,
No.
no follow up. Okay, Team Steve Jobs. Any follow up to what Utkarsh just said?
Yeah, like here we'll have the situation like somebody is guiding and like telling you to. He just they are not like self-involved. Like somebody is giving like in the curriculum. So most of the people in exams they don't read. Like they will just find the good notes and try to finish off in short man. So here also like storytelling will become so like some third parties involved to make you understand the things. So how it will be related to it.
Yes. Yes, so short note, as you said, in exam we are taking short notes and we are clearing the exam. That's fine, but still, that will give them the brief introduction, right? So if they will also read a short note, and if they're excited, so they can go through the whole book. So that's why I'm suggesting that like some interesting books, so that will excite them in the brief also.
Okay, but Utkarsh, what guarantees that it will give them a reading habit?
Uh,
Is storytelling enough?
yes,
Doesn't the book already have a story that it wants to narrate to the students, right, or to the readers?
sorry.
Don't the books already have some stories that they are, narrating or conveying to the readers? How do you guarantee that the story or character approach that you're taking works?
Uh, we can't guarantee for anything, but that's our part. We can suggest them to go through it. If those are interested, they will go, and if they are not, we can't force them, right?
Okay, if you
We can't.
can't guarantee it, then let's say that
Mhm.
I'm hiring you as, let's say that I have my own university, I'm hiring you as a professor, to, or as a trainer to get these people to start reading books. And if you're saying that you can't guarantee it, why should I hire you?
So,
So we can do one thing. As like some student, I suggest some books. So let's say some student don't have the reading the habit, don't have the habit to reading the books, and there are some students who have read that book. Okay, so we can do that. We can call the student, and we can set up a debate and discussion thing. So as like he read that book, he had gained some points from that book. So on that points, so he can discuss that point to his classmates and his friends about that point that he's gained from that book. So by these things, that friends who doesn't read the books, they can think, okay, he's gaining something from that book. So my friend is reading that book, so I also have to get that book and read that thing. So I also gain the knowledge and can be a part of the debate and discussion.
Great. Okay, that answers my question. Team Steve Jobs, any final follow-ups?
But isn't it our job as a trainer to do that rather than a student doing it by for their friends?
Yeah, so peer-to-peer learning is the best thing. So if the student has learned something and he is discussing with his friend, So it's not a bad thing for a teacher because a student is learning something and his friend also gaining something from that, and he's getting motivated by his friends that I also can learn that thing. So I think it's not bad for the teacher.
Right. So teacher plays the role of a moderator there, right? So they don't have to be involved in every single step. Okay. Any final follow-up, Steve Jobs?
No.
No. Okay. Great. Then it's 7:20 almost. It will get extended a bit. I hope you don't mind it. But yeah, great. So we are done with the first round. We'll now jump to the second round, right? Guys, some things that I would want you to notice that in the second round, please make sure that you stick to the principles that are described in the um, questionnaire. So just to quickly remind you of the 5 principles they have talked about. First of all, they talk about education business, right? What it means to inculcate, what it means to teach or learn, right? When you're running a business, right? Like, do you need to go to school if you want to run a shop, for example, right? The second principle is about cross functionalities. Okay, so let's say that I am, again, the physics was the thing that I mentioned earlier. I'm learning physics right now, right? So do I need to learn um, computer science? Do I need to learn business, right? How do this different domains play a role in business, right? And then there's this idea of um, different domains within the business itself. Like we have marketing and stuff. So what's the connection between marketing and software development and something like that, right? So within business itself, how do you bring that cross functionality, right? And then the fourth one is about language, right? How do you communicate ideas to people? And the fifth one is about the recent transformations, right? So you guys touched upon that idea with case studies. So recent transformations are happening. It's being rapid. So how do you keep students updated? So let's please try to stick with those ideas and question the ideas instead of questioning in an approach, and because those are all hypothetical, right? So yeah, let's quickly get started with the second round. Team Steve Jobs would like to go ahead and pitch.
Yeah, so first of all, let me tell what the exact education system is right now, and then I'll go with my pitch. So these days, business is not a necessary subject like science and maths in schools. And secondly, we are taught business, other disciplines which are very necessary in business, like psychology, because we can take psychological concepts, philosophy, are not taught. So we have came up with a comprehensive interdisciplinary approach uh, in business by incorporating concepts from psychology, anthropology, sociology, philosophy, and so on to provide students with a well-rounded understanding of various factors of influence business operation and decision making. And
And additionally, the inclusion of case studies from different business will offer practical insights into real-world business scenarios. The approach will help students develop a holistic perspective of business and equipped with the knowledge and skills need to navigate the complexity of business world. And also, we will invite guest speakers from different industries to share their experience and insights. And we can arrange field trips or virtual sessions to business to provide students with direct exposure to various industries.
Done. Okay, great pitch, guys. I think that was clear enough. Team Feynman, do you have any question?
Okay, so you said that industry experts, you can call some industry experts. So don't you think like if someone is like other domain, like physics, chemistry, or something, so why they will come to join that workshop or something, whatever it is, if it isn't some industry expert and they will talk about some business, uh, why they will come?
I like to answer that. Just because, like, if I am letting for a bigger picture, Steve Jobs come in my university to talk to students. students want to be like them, right? So they are motivated enough to want to be them like him, whether they are from physics or whether they are from biology or psychology. So I mean that is where they like to come.
So it's just because of their fame, not because of their knowledge or something.
It's not just about the fame. If you'll ask me personally, if I like Steve Jobs or any other businessman, it's not just because of the fame, because the fame they have is not they have acquired it, right? It's not something that they have already. So it's not just fame, I guess.
So that's what if someone is like, if I am from biology or something, so I don't know how they have, I just know that there is Steve Jobs, he have grown a big company, that's it. But how and what, and it doesn't make me excited. So just to see that, yes, he has done some great work, so I'm coming to that workshop or certain event. So it will not be related to business, I guess.
If any industrial specialist or if any singer or if any creator even comes to a university, I guess the student already do a research about them. So if they'll do the research, they'll be interested of being like them.
Okay, any follow-up, Utkarsh?
No, that's fine.
No. Okay, then Sika, I have a follow-up. Why would they do that research?
Okay, so if any person is coming in my university to meet the students, so as a student, if I am a student, I'll do a research to know who is the person and why he is coming in our university. So students
But
do the
why would I do that?
research.
That's my question. Why? Why would I do that as a student?
If
Uh,
someone is coming in your college, why you have to be in his in his why you have to be in front of him and why you have to be in his concert or whether in front of him, you have to know the significance what he has contributed to the society.
Do I have to?
Yeah, it's not like I have to like inquire. Like if when some eminent personality is coming, where there will always be a like a buzz around that, and the buzz will not only because of the fame, but because of the ideas also that that may relate to the uh, critical thinking and
Okay,
decision makings. So these can give some pointers.
right. So now coming back to Utkarsh's question, Anshul, I'm, let's say again, a physics student, business personality is coming, right? I'm not aware, I'm not familiar with the ideas that the person has been, projecting, right? So why would I? Like, okay, just to clarify, you mentioned, right? It's not just about being, it's not just about the fame and stuff. It's not just about the personality who's coming, but the ideas as well. The ideas would attract the students, right? But if I'm not
Yeah.
familiar with those ideas, why would I be attracted? Like, I don't know what ideas that person has been spreading, right? Since I do not know about the ideas, I do not know about that person, and I'm not
Mm.
interested in researching. Like, I don't have a reason to research about that, so why would I go and be in their talk?
See, it is a complete new thing for him as a physics student. And like if somebody is coming, uh, he can uh, use the ability to observe and find out the process and system what are going on, and they can interrelate those things to his core domain what he is working on.
What do you mean? I mean, that doesn't answer my question at all. Like, I'm saying, why would I care about any of that?
Because we are bringing people who can talk about ideas for students. We are not bringing random people.
Okay, let's say that I'm a random student who just likes to play game whole day and just go to classes and at night do the homework and just sleep and stuff, right? So why would I then care about those ideas, right? Okay, let's forget about why I would care about those ideas. Let's imagine there's this person who does not care about these things, right? Now, the QFD basically talks about how do you as a teacher try to get those students to be attracted to those things, right? Start making effort into learning those ideas. So what do you do as a teacher? So the assumptions here is that the students is not interested in that thing, right? The student is not familiar with the person and their ideas, right? And do not care enough to go and research, right? But you think that a personality is big enough to influence the students. So what do you do to make the students come to the talk?
In classrooms, we will tell the students about the person, about the contribution he have made to the business, and how about his life. So it will be enough to let them be interested in it.
Okay, any follow-up, Team Feynman, to that?
So, if I am a physics student and I'm attending the business workshop, so as a physics student, what will I get at the end of that?
I mean, Elon Musk wasn't a business student, right? He was a science student, and he made some technologies out of it, and he made a business out of it. So it's not just about business.
Okay, does that answer your question, Shivam?
Yeah, I think so.
It does? Okay, sure. Uh, Team Feynman, any other question?
Because so you have talked about some different subjects like psychology and entrepreneurship and some different things. So how it will help? How it is connected to business?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
As you mentioned that you will introduce with psychology and entrepreneurship and something. So how it is related to business? How it will help them to learn business?
Okay, to build a business, you should know about your target audience. And how will you know it? If you know about psychology. So, and if you know about other concepts like sociology, sociology is a study about society, right? So you should know about your target audience to build a great business. So psychology by learning business psychology, you will know about more about your target audience, and you will know how to launch your product, how to advertise your product. So it will help in your business.
So, are you going to, as a teacher, you going to teach them all these concepts of anthropology, sociology, psychology, and all?
We are not exactly teaching them every subjects. We are just taking the fundamentals of all the subjects that we can use in this business, because as a businessman and in general people forget about the fundamentals. So we'll just teach about the fundamentals, about the psychological concepts, and that can be used in a business mindset.
Okay, so let's say if I'm interested in business and if I have a good amount of capital, so I don't think so I will need that all the things. I can hire some person for that thing, who can do this all this thing for me. So why do I need to understand all this?
So even if you have all the capital and you can hire someone, but it will take one more person. So it will take a time, right? And if you are a businessman, time is very important. And you can get the ideas by thinking it by your own self. And to hire someone, some, different people for sociology, psychology, and all the discipline for finances, it will take time. And even time is important, right?
Sika, cross question. Does it take more time to learn stuff, or does it take more time to hire people and get them to do your work?
We are not teaching the whole psychology and whole sociology, right? We are just teaching the business fundamentals that can be used in business. So it takes more time to hire people and get to do your things.
No, but Utkarsh's question was that let's say you have enough money, right? And you are already a businessman and or a business person, right? You're a business person, you have enough money, so you want to do some user research, right? So for now, you're saying that you need to study psychology, anthropology, and all these concepts. Why do I need to do that? I can just hire one person who is good with these concepts and done.
So as a business person, isn't it's your responsibility to know about your own business? Even if you hire someone, you will let him taught you, right, about your own product and about your target audience and all. So why to do that by a third party rather if it is being taught to you in your universities?
No, but then I would have to do everything, right? But if I do everything, then I would not be able to focus on one thing properly, right? And that's not what businessmen do either, right? They do not try to do everything at once. They hire people, they delegate tasks to those people, and then at the end, they review them, right? Whether or not the objectives were met. If those were met, great. If not, why? We'll hire another person, right?
So the objective all this, the idea of just because we chose the name Steve Jobs is not just being a businessman, how to be a leader, how to be a mentor, and how to be an effective businessman. It's not
Okay, so
just
are
being
you,
a businessman. Yeah,
sorry, please complete.
it's not just being a businessman. It's being how to be an effective leader.
So are you suggesting that to be a good business person, you have to be a good mentor?
Not I guess to be a good business person, you have to be a good, yeah, you have to be a good mentor because if you are a good businessman, you know how to mentor people, right?
Okay, that's not necessarily the case all the time, but okay, I got your point. Team Feynman, any follow-up?
No.
Okay, anyone else from Team Feynman? Any question? Okay, I guess not.
I don't have any follow-up, but question I know.
You mean a different thread, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so as she said, she is going to provide a student to direct exposure to the various industries. So I want to know how we are going to do that. After that, provide the exposure to the various industries. So what would be the process behind that? What would be the process? The process I want to do.
Right. So his question is how what's the process behind giving people that exposure to industry, right? That's the question, right, Shivam? Yeah, great.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would like to answer it. So we can conduct a visual session, or we can conduct a real world, and like we can conduct some trips, some industrial trips. So industrial very happy if some people go to visit them and want to see their culture and their so students will get exposure of the industry and will get to know more about the business, like how they do their business and how they get things from them. So that's the thing.
Does that answer your question, Shivam?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, no more follow-ups. No? Okay, then let me ask this one last question, like one last thread. It's the QFD itself, right? I'm just wondering if you guys have answered the QFD. So you mentioned how your approaches should change, right? Uh, yeah, yeah, how your approaches should change. Now, how do you assure that all these changes that you have brought in actually make people actually help the students or allow the students appreciate all those business concepts you're trying to teach, all those business strategies. Like, how do you make them capable of coming up with their own business strategies? How do you make sure that all this strategies processes that you have come up with do that?
O- Okay, so as
Uh,
I will like to take an example. Yes.
okay, I mean there was a question to Team Steve Jobs, but do you want to like add onto it, or
Okay. No.
you can as well answer. Both teams can answer, but okay, Steve, just would you like to go ahead first?
So the reason why we are teaching interdisciplinary course like psychology and all the fundamental courses is just because to inculcate the thought process in the students, so they can know about different fields, they can know about their target audience, and they can come up with new ideas. So that's the only reason that we are teaching interdisciplines.
Then that doesn't answer the QFD then, right? Like the objective here was to teach or like bring all those changes so that you can make those students appreciate business ideas and enable them to create business strategies.
Here we have introduced the interdisciplinary courses. So
Mhm.
like psychology, philosophy, uh, like Shika said, like it makes you understand your customer base and sociology
Okay, he got stuck. Okay, anyone else from the team?
understand the
Okay, he's back.
cultural
Yeah, you were
audible.
stuck, Ansul. Please
Okay,
continue.
yeah. So similarly, sociology and social science, yeah, all these subjects which are having to understand the cultural diversity. So in this way, we can understand our end customer and we can go in the approach of like empathetic towards the customer and like adapt and make our business process according to our customer basis. So if they are getting values with our system and the changes modified according to them, these all subjects will help us to identify those all uh, internal things that we cannot identify normally. So yeah, in that way it will help us.
No, sure, that does make sense, right? But my question is whether or not the objective of this whole SD was met, right? So it says that you want those like okay, let's say again, I'm a physics student. So do I you guys have done all those stuff that you talked about. You are introducing me to all those psychology concepts, business concepts and stuff. Now, can you like the way that I appreciate physics or concepts, how do you know that I'm appreciating business concepts in similar manner, right? Can you define what you mean by appreciating ideas?
Like appreciating like ideas can like I can say like it's a a way of doing the particular process with um, with a system involved in it, like how it systematically uh, goes in it, if that makes sense.
No, it does not. Can you clarify? What do you mean by system is required, like a systemic approach? Like, why does appreciation of something, how does it bring a system?
Can you reiterate your question for the first
Okay, my question, basically, what do you mean by appreciation of ideas? That's the question that QFD asks, right? Like it mentions this, appreciating business ideas. What do you mean by that?
yeah
Okay,
that
team,
like
yeah, yeah,
yeah
go ahead, go ahead.
I feel like appreciating business ideas, like it gives that like it is giving us the value to make some business models from our end, and
Again,
that
I'm not
is
understanding the words, right? You said giving us value, making
uh,
business models. What do you mean?
okay, like it actually like appreciating ideas will like help in creating the sense of that these ideas are helpful in my business and will be uh, sustainable for upcoming business strategies.
Okay, sure. So let's talk about helpfulness, right? Let's consider that as one of the points. So if I appreciate an idea, it means that I consider that idea is useful, as helpful, right? Now, whatever strategies that you guys mentioned, how do you guarantee that if people do those stuff, then they will find all those business concepts useful? Right? Let's say that I'm a physics student. You have been teaching me business concepts in a cross-functional manner, right? By teaching psychology, by teaching anthropology, sociology, and those stuff, right? Now, after you have done all this, how do you know that I find business ideas useful now? Because earlier, obviously, I did not, right? But how do I now?
We can assess them by letting them give their own, business ideas, by making their own problem statement, by making their own steps of making a business.
Okay, so basically such activities wherein you get them to come up with business ideas and stuff, right? Like use those strategies. Okay, sure. But can you think of even I think it applies to team Feynman. Can you think of some like this is the last thread, okay? Uh, can you think of some ways by which they'll really enjoy or really appreciate whatever you're teaching them?
Yeah, we can teach them different fun case studies. Like in the questionnaire, we heard about the Toyota company and the Japanese and American, right? So we can tell them the different case studies that were fun and that were very significant, uh, to let them enjoy the process.
Okay, sure. I was just looking for this point, even in the question it's mentioned, that of lateral connection and stuff, right? So I think that again, if I'm a physics student, right, if you're teaching me all these business concepts, if I'm able to find the relevance of those business concepts in my own studies, right? If I realize that, okay, I want to, let's say, go to the moon, right? Now, how would studying business concepts help me go to the moon? Right? If I study business concepts, that I would understand how, let's say, ISRO works, how NASA works, how they form buzzards, right? How rockets are formed, how are people employed for all those businesses and stuff, right? So as a physics student, if I learn about those, then if I, let's say, go and work in ISRO, then I'd be able to connect with those people better, right? I'd be able to work with them properly. Then who knows? I will go to the moon, right? So you see, right, how if I am able to find the relevance, if I'm able to literally connect those ideas in my own interests, then I might find them useful. I might appreciate them. Okay. There was just one of the ideas. Please to explore further, right? And yeah, I think that's it for the SD. One feedback that I would want to give, right, that I think um, it did not happen in this SD was um, Anshul did mention it at the end, but it was just briefly touched upon. The point of empathy, right? So you guys talked about all those strategies and stuff, but did you think from the from the lens of students, right? If you were students, if you were asked to do all these things, would you do that? Would you want to do all this, right? Like for example, you come to me and then suggest me some books, give me some narrative of let's say some business book. Sure, for that moment I'll be interested, but why will I spend 1 month reading that book, right? I might not. So uh, that's that point of empathy, right? Thinking from the lens of students, and that's why I think teachers are supposed to do, right? Think from the perspective of students. So yeah, I think that's it. Um, but great job with the SD, guys. It was very good. A lot of good ideas were discussed, and surprisingly, it was your first SD, but they were quite, like very less tangents, right? So, that's something that I appreciate. So, yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed. We can end it with some reflections. So, I think all of you can go ahead and share some of your insights, or whatever your experience was.
Okay, so I would like to go. So as it was my first SD, so it was quite exciting for me, and I get to learn more things like how to ask a right question without going on tangent, as you said. So yes, and from other team, like and from my point of like as you mentioned that we haven't think from the student perspective, right? So it was not in our mind. So from next time we'll take care of it to think from the student perspective. And from other team, I learned that yes, the how the different things can be like what we can say, how different things we can manage to direct to learn something, right? Like different subjects, like they said psychology and other things. So how we can uh, mind map things and we can make them related to their concepts so they can learn the things. Like as you said, we can relate it to physics, like business thing we can relate it to physics so they will get excited and uh, as it is related to this physics so they can able to understand. So yes, that's it. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Utkarsh.
Yeah, so this is also my first SD. So uh, I like the how this thing happened, and my reflection is that there are some points that I'm not able to think. So after this discussion and how we are doing this with the Socratic dialogue, so it's getting more and more clear. And I got some more points from the team Steve Jobs that we are not able to think like student exposure, and we can inculcate different topics and different concept in the business value. So all that thing. So that's my reflection. Right.
Great. Thank you, Shivam. Anyone else?
Yeah, so it was also my first SD, and it was a brain boosting session, and I learned a lot. What the other team what talked about, or how to do it, and what we talk about, what to do, right? So I think it was a very good thought process of thinking how to do it. They came up with different steps and different ideas to do things, and it was really nice, and yeah, it was really informative.
Right. Awesome. Thank you, Sika.
Yeah, hi everyone. So even though it's not my first SD, but a lot of good ideas were shared in this SD. It was really some ideas were enlightening to me, and some of the key takeaways I had, like in both the teams we have discussed, like to have the holistic understanding of a teaching, we should involve in the trainings and also event managements and all. So that will be like give a holistic approach, I felt like, and they are also told that the lateral connection that I was like I was missing out. Like I came to know that also, and yeah, the importance of case study. Both the teams have given that case study importance. So yeah, it is like great learnings today I had.
Awesome. Thank you, Anshul.
So, hello, I want to share my reflection on the HD. This is my first HD, and I got to know about how the methods we can like inculcate in the students, and many understanding like empathy. We forgot about the empathy, like we didn't put ourselves in the shoes of the students, and also about the current state of the students, what like their view and in their perspective also. So lots of the methods also we can we can know lot more. Oh, thank you guys.
Great. Thank you, Ashish.
Yeah, so that first is the and so we were very nervous and excited at the same time, and I got to know many things from my team and from team firemen also. Like we all are using things to make education like better. So we are using business approaches. So I get to learn many things from this session. So that is thank you.
Great. Thank you, Madhvi.
Okay, so I can go. So yeah, this session was very informative, right? Like we came to understand how business education is not just about business itself. Like it requires interdisciplinary approach, right? So yeah, that was my takeaway. And also like yeah, learning is not fun for all people, right? It's very difficult for making people, especially children, like kids, learn, especially business things like business. So yeah, I also came to understand how different approaches, right? So that can be applied to make what we're teaching more appreciated and valued, right? So yeah, those were my takeaways from this session. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Gaurav. I'll also mention a few points. First of all, uh, y- I just got to reflect upon this point of understanding the existing systems before we try to change them, right? Like I had gotten this insight when we had a review a few days ago with Mr. Hariharan Anand. He had mentioned that when we are trying to change something, we need to understand what already exists, right? Otherwise, you just do unnecessary stuff, right? So that was something that I got to reflect upon, and the way that both the teams presented the problems that already exist and then solicit ideas. I think it was quite interesting to look at. And second thing was, I just want to highlight the um, you know like when a lot of us were talking, we mentioned this points of like we have to do this, right? And we have like a lot of those words were exchanged, right? So for the last few days itself, I was reflecting upon this whole idea of have to and stuff. Um, and even yesterday, I think I sent a message, right? I was just reflecting upon one of the dialogues of one of the books that I was reading, where where the person was talking about first principles reasoning, right? So the person said that the fundamental thing about first principle reasoning is that you question this assumptions that you have, right? So when we say have to do something, the students will have to join the sessions, right? These are all assumptions, right? Let's just question them. Why do we have to? Right? Your students have to do that, right? And when you're doing that, you're basically involving yourself in first principle reasoning, right? That is first principle reasoning to question those assumptions, right? Um, so yeah, that's again something that I got to reflect upon and then actually look at, right? And the final thing, I realized that a lot of you guys have been here for like 2 3 months, but it was your first ST, right? So I am hoping that you will participate in a lot more. You'll get to participate in a lot more STs in future, right? But considering that it was your first, it was really great, right? So yeah, I think that's good. Um, anyway, that's basically it, guys. Thank you so much for staying on the link like till almost 8 p.m. I'll see you guys in the next ST. Have a good day.
Thank you.